everybody, it's Sarah here and welcome. Thank you for joining us today. Again, we are on one of my favourite topics, angels. I've got with me today Lynn Avis, who is an angel expert. Lynn has already done one video with me before, so she's already shared lots of amazing experiences, so I'm really looking forward to hearing what she's got up her sleeve for us today. So Lynn, I know we first met online, didn't we? And
yes.
I actually started following you because I was so intrigued at the time about this story that kept coming up about you being in the Amazon. Was it the Amazon?
Yeah, in the Amazon rainforest.
And taking ayahuasca. Now, I've always been someone very interested in shamanism. I'd love to go off to the Amazon myself and do a little bit of ayahuasca, because I've heard that for medicinal purposes it's supposed to be very, very good to help you actually clear stuff, to clear anything that is keeping you stuck, holding you back, but it's also very good for healing different illnesses, dis-ease in the body,
and the mind.
And the mind, of course. So yeah, so I mean, I've always been really intrigued by it, and to start, you know, when I was listening at some of the stuff that was coming up on Facebook that you were sharing, I was like, well, I don't know a lot of it, but obviously I caught bits and pieces. So tell us, I mean, what first of all, what got you to go there, and what was your experience of ayahuasca?
Okay, so it was my first introduction into actually knowing what ayahuasca was in 2007, and I went to a big Mind, Body and Spirit fair in Olympia in London, and bought a book, and the young girl that had written the book was there. It was the book that I'd chosen to buy, and she said, actually, it's my book. And she went out to Peru, and it's her story, Rebecca Shaman, and it's her story of how that unravelled, this incredible journey that she took to the Amazon, and how she ended up being trained by a shaman who had never trained a Westerner, certainly never trained a woman, and she was the last to be the last apprentice that he would initiate.
Amazing.
So it was quite an incredible journey, and I remember reading this book, and a few of the things, the stories inside it, brought me to tears.
Really?
I didn't quite understand the significance
so that
of that. So that made that connection. And then, skipping forward to 2015, a friend was going out to Peru, and she was journeying through healing breast cancer naturally, and introduced me to the shaman that she'd been working with, who was taking over a retreat in Peru. And I literally, the day before he was journeying to Peru, I met him. But I'd also, one of the things that I do is bring angelic energy into art. And I'd been asked to produce a painting for him as a thank you. And that's now out in the retreat in Peru. So I met him literally, and then synchronistically, so much just went crazy. Within 2 weeks of meeting him, I was out there in the rainforest, with never having set an intention that, but it was always in the back of my mind. It was always in the back that I would do this. I would somehow, but I could not perceive how that would ever happen. That I would have the time to do it, the money to do it. That just how on earth would that ever happen? Anyway, it did. So I have mentioned before, intention for me is key to everything that I do. So I set the intention. If I was going, I wanted to experience 3 things: to heal something on the physical, and I'd had a ganglion cyst on my wrist, nearly 30 years of hairdressing, and it was a huge cyst that was giving me so much pain. It was very, very big, and I wanted that healed and gone. Emotionally, I had gone through a bereavement of losing my mum, and I knew there was still sadness there in my heart from losing her, and I wanted to just get to the place where I could just remember all the beautiful times, all the incredible experiences we'd had together. And then my third intention was spiritually, to have my gifts, my psychic gifts, my spiritual gifts, to go to a new level and to be heightened. and I got all 3 granted. The sister's gone.
Wow,
Nothing there.
You
Yeah.
went, did it actually when you were there?
I was there for a month,
right.
and by the end, it had completely gone in that 4 weeks.
In that 4
week period.
So what else did you actually clear that time?
And I had a healing from David, the shaman,
Yeah.
on my heart, on my heart chakra, to release that sadness, and I felt so much happiness, so much joy, so much love. And now when I think of my mum, I can think of just the joy. It's very rare that I would ever have a sad moment now.
Really.
And the spiritual gifts, ayahuasca, I took part in 7 ceremonies, as you would have seen on that, me recapping the journey.
So what did they get you to take?
So ayahuasca is they call it a tea. Oh, it really does not resemble anything like a tea. The first time I'd heard that it was revolting, the taste, and the first ceremony I tasted it, I thought, not brilliant, but not as bad as I was thinking.
Yeah.
It gets worse every oh, it was just, I got to the last ceremony, the 7th one, and I literally touched my lips, and even now actually saying the words
it actually makes you sick at the time.
They call it purging.
Yes.
So, and this was one of the things that actually I had a horror of being sick in my life, so I had to get over that fear. And it cleared that. So it heals on an emotional level, on a physical level, on a spiritual level. And the purging isn't just the physical.
That's what I was going to say.
It's emotionally. You're actually emotional. All our cells are holding our memories.
Of course, yeah.
So you're actually purging the memories of fears, of anxiety, of people with depression. A lot of people go to treat themselves for addictions, so drugs, drink, self-harming. There's a lot of things that it works on. For me, I didn't feel that I had any big things to release, and I feel we're light and dark, we're shadow and light. I kind of didn't. I felt that I'd done a long journey of releasing that, but the one thing for my spiritual gifts that I wanted was my spiritual sight to be enhanced, because I closed that down in my 20s, and I was aware of people around me that were physically seeing angels, and I'm like, hey, what's going on here? You've had me working for over a decade with you, and I don't see that way. I see light, I see sparks of light and energy, but I didn't see winged, what angels are depicted are, of these winged beings, and I was like, am I ever going to see?
Did you put out the intention that you wanted to awaken your spiritual sight a lot more? So you actually started to see different stuff.
So was I ever going to see, and that's lovely. For me, that's not what angels are, but it would be very beautiful to see one, So it happened actually on the 4th ceremony, and one of the girls that was there in the retreat was actually training to be a shaman, and it's quite a harrowing thing to go through a shamanic journey, to be a full-blown shaman and releasing everything, that your darkness and everything. And she was really struggling, she was really battling demons, and
her own demons.
She was really battling her own darkness. And it had been going on, so this was the 4th ceremony that I'd heard this. And as an empath, it's excruciating to hear somebody in pain or suffering and not want to fix it for them. But I know that's
it as well.
I know
that's
myself. That's not my journey. However, what you can do is call in the angels, call in the big guns, call in the people that can help. So I just literally, I was like,
the backup.
And I was just like, Archangel Michael, Archangel Raphael, can you please be with Valentina? Please help her. And David.
So are they the ones that you work with mainly?
They were the 2 that just came to me to just really for the healing and the protection, that I felt that she, would help her. And literally within seconds, the whole side of they call them a malacca, a big round kind of thatched building, great big huge one, and the whole side of the opposite me went this golden white light. This beautiful golden white light. And in the centre was this huge, probably 12-15 foot angel, winged angel, and all that, because my predominant sense is hearing, sensing and feeling and hearing, and all I heard was one word, was Michael. But I actually went, Michael, because he didn't come out hide. I got this huge expectation if I ever see Archangel
if I saw
Michael.
him, I think I'd be wanting to. I think I'd be expecting to see some tall guy with fair, long, curly locks.
I kind of I've associated seeing electric blue light with Michael.
Thing you
so,
see, but often when you see, like with cards, we've got a packet of cards here, for instance, and how Archangel Michael looks on the cards.
Yeah, is what
he's got this long. Curly
you've put this vision in it.
Yeah,
and that's what I always say is like, have your own experience, regardless of what is written in a book or in a deck of cards or anything. However it comes to you, that's your truth. That's how it's meant to come. But I built up all these expectations, electric blue, and it's going to be this now. And he was in full white and gold. His robes were white, edged in gold. His wings were enormous, white, edged in gold. So as I said, Michael, questioning it, then all I heard is all God's glory. And that's not how I talk. It's not my natural way of talking, and all God's glory. But at that split second, then I knew. And the whole of my body just went, and he'd gone. And I was like, oh, I've just dissed Archangel Michael. It's like, come back. I'm so sorry. So sorry. But it was the feeling that it left me with, this absolute knowing of what that I just expect. When we believe something, there's still an element. When we know something, nothing can remove it from you.
And when you see it, it's like it's like that old saying, isn't it? You've got to experience it to believe it. And when you actually see something with your physically see something with your eyes, it does make all the difference.
Yeah, and I questioned that of my journey, and then got the answer while I was in Peru of doubting Thomas and where that term comes from the Bible. I didn't know that story.
We've been conditioned to doubt, haven't we?
Yes, and I didn't realise, but my journey as a channel is my total trust in the unseen, in what I've had to build that trust up in what I do by my own experience. Nobody could give me that.
That's what a channel does, isn't it? They have to trust in the unseen,
and then
you have to be able to trust in that, whether that's angels, whether that's spirit, whatever you want to call it, you know. And this is when we first started our training in the very early days. That's one of the things our teachers always taught us. You know, you cannot, you know, you have to just learn how to trust. Yeah. But the more you trust, the more evidence you're actually given. Yes. You know, and the more will show up in so many different, you know, you'll get those signs, but in so many different ways. Yeah. More and more and more. So,
and that's what it gave me, was that concrete sense of knowing, and almost like my coming of age with the angels.
So can I ask you, because I saw at the time something about you said something on a post about how you started to get these downloads for this set of cards or something. What happened with that?
Yes, I did another plant medicine. So I did ayahuasca, but then I did another plant medicine called Ohe, and you go into isolation when you do that. So there's a similar process of purging first.
Kind of quite hard, because I imagine I find that really difficult.
Yeah, it was, what I found difficult wasn't what I thought I was going to find difficult. Okay. Physically, you were on your bed for 5 days.
Really?
So physically, I found that quite difficult, because I've had a back problem in the past. But the being in isolation, the not talking, didn't find it so difficult. It was
I find that really hard.
Well, I thought I would. I'd love to talk. But it was actually...
I'm a talker.
Yeah, it was... I don't know, there was something quite cathartic about it. It felt a bit strange, because we did do 2 ceremonies in that 5 days, so you couldn't share, and that's what I found was strange. However, my creativity went to a whole new level. So I'd taken some sheet canvases, no expectations of what I was going to do with them, but just produce something. And because I work with acrylics, you have to wait for it to dry and build up. And by the third one, I realised it was like, this is the chakras. this is the chakra system, the energy system. And what came through, I'd never painted like that before. I'd never done the detail, the delicacy that was coming through. It was quite energetic and moving energy. There was a lot of fine detailing, which I'd never done before. So yes, I want to produce a deck of cards and use this energy. I've been using the pictures as backdrops and for memes and things like that. But yes, I do want to do a deck of cards with them. So creativity really goes heightened. Your throat chakra is one that gets affected, and that's about expressing yourself, speaking the truth, but also expressing yourself creatively. So speaking, and public speaking was something that I shied away from, but I knew was part of my journey to share my story, hence doing things like this. So it hugely helped with that as well.
Lovely.
Yeah,
Wow.
incredible experience. Would I do it again? Ayahuasca.
I was going to ask you that. Would you do it again?
I don't think I would.
No?
I think I got what I needed to get, and I think it served its purpose beautifully, and I will be forever grateful for it, but I think I'm done. Yeah.
Okay, Lynn, well, it's been absolutely lovely having you here again, so I look forward to watching more unfold for you in the future and having you back.
Yes,
so,
I would love to.
Yeah.
In this beautiful idyllic setting, my word, it couldn't be any more idyllic.
Thank you. Okay, so do you have anything you'd like to add at all before we finish? Because we're about to run out of time.
Okay, I would just really say follow your own intuition. How do you do that? Check in with your heart. That's the seat of it. That's the seat of your soul. That's where your truth lies. Check in with your heart. Get out of your head. Don't think it, feel it. And I'll leave you with that.
Lovely. Thank you. Ta-da for now.